All right, y'all, what's going on? It's Combo Breaker 99. I am back with another post-fight analysis video slash mini cast slash mini podcast because I might put this post-fight analysis discussion video on my site as well, because I want to break it down round by round. I rarely do these type of round by rounds. It's been like a year since I did the last one. I think I did one for Joanna Zhang Weili, the first fight. I did one for Michelle Waterson and Angela Hill. Every time it's a close fight and everybody wants to argue or they want to know my opinion on the fight, how I thought it went, I'll kind of break it down round by round on what I saw. After a couple of watches, I'll break it down what I saw. Then I'll post it up there. Y'all can watch and give y'all thoughts, right? So, yeah, man, welcome back. Welcome back to another mini podcast episode, whatever you want to call it. Zhang Weili versus Joanna, that fight turned out to be, exactly what we needed to help build WMMA back up. But this main event for the WMMA fans, I know Proska Teixeira was the main event, but this fight here, I think everybody was satisfied with Valentina Shevchenko versus Taila Santos. First off, I got to say shout out to Taila Santos, man. I got to apologize and say, look, I was rooting for as a fan pick, but as an analysis, I had to go for Valentina in this pick. Fan pick was Taila Santos because she is part of my triple threat, quadruple threat, whatever you want to call it. And Valentina had to be my analysis pick just because I'm just going off of veteran mindset and skill sets, and experience here. Because Valentina Shevchenko, she's been here time and time again, y'all. She's been here time and time again, been here many a time with 5 rounds. She knows how to beat those 4 opponents. And y'all know what I'm talking about, those 4 opponents. Her opponent in the cage and those 3 judges. That's what it came down to in this fight. Now, my first reaction after watching that fight, I was on my little mini vacation. After watching it the first time, I was hyped up. First time I watched it, three rounds to 2 for Santos, right? But at the same time, you didn't hear me argue and get mad and say, oh, man, Santos was robbed, Santos dominated, Santos did that, Shevchenko was exposed. You didn't hear me do any of that, right? Because that's not how the fight went. That ain't how the fight went. You know what I mean? It was a very close, competitive fight. Santos gave Shevchenko a look she's never seen before, right? And Shevchenko had to take time to adjust to it. So I had it 3 rounds to 2 for Santos, but the 2 judges that had it 3 rounds, or I think 4 rounds to 1 for Shevchenko, or 3 rounds to 2 and 4 rounds to 1 for Shevchenko, I can see that now. I can see that because of the little things that was being done in between the fight. Like I was telling y'all last night in the live stream, this ain't just a grappling match. This is an MMA match. That's why I said, Taila Santos, take notes from ground game from Zhang Weili here. Because Zhang Weili is looking to finish the fight. I mean, look, Taila Santos, she's looked dominant leading up to this point. But in this fight here, just doing enough ain't going to cut it. You got to go in there and dominate, right? So I had it 3 rounds to 2 the first time. I just watched the fight this afternoon. And I can say Valentina Shevchenko won the fight. I can say she won the fight. And I'll talk about it here in this video. Like I said, I'm still like, hey, it can go either way, just like Joanna Zhang Weili. And I'm not here to argue. I'm just here to let you know about the points I see in the points that I can agree, that I've seen, that I can agree with some of the people that said in my chat, and where the judges might favor something. Because judges, they don't always look at the same thing. Like little strikes to the back of the head might be effective to some. Ground control where you might just be going for a submission attempt might be credible to some, right? So it changes. It really does change. So in this type of situation, it's really on Taila Santos to go in there and just leave no stone unturned, like Weili did in her rematch, right? Like she did in her fight last night or Saturday night. You have to go in there and just say, I'm not going tit for tat. I got to beat this person up. It's got to be all tit or all tat. I didn't want to say tat, but anyway. So Shevchenko, though, in her case, she still had her moments because she had her strengths throughout this fight, right? She still had her moments, big moments, because she knew the stand-up was still enough to control Santos. And that's why I said going into this fight before then, I said you can't just think all ground game. Santos has to believe in her stand-up just as well, and she's got to pull those triggers. You got to go in there and let your hands go. Don't walk into anything stupid. We'll work on angles so you can at least get your own striking off and get Shevchenko's respect. Shevchenko might respect you on the ground, but on the feet, she ain't gonna respect you, and she just gonna tee off on you. And that's what happened too much in the third and fourth round, even some moments in the second round, right? So when it came down to it for me, 3 rounds to 2 the first time around, I could say, hey, 3 rounds to 2 for Valentina Shevchenko. But was it a great fight? Yeah. Was Shevchenko exposed in any way? No. Was she in there with tough competition now? Yes. Was Taila Santos everything I said she would be? Yes. Right? Do I agree with the decision when it comes down to it? Yes, I do. Like I said, what I say, that's my opinion. But when it's a fight like this, it's like, I'm not a judge. I think it could go either way. It don't matter for me, right? But yeah, let's look back at the fight real quick. Some of y'all asked me if I was going to do a post-fight analysis. I kind of go back and look at each round on what I seen with y'all, like I usually do on these long versions here. But yeah, just stick with me and listen through, agree or disagree by the end. But yeah, let's talk about the first round here real quick. Round 1, Shevchenko, she came out controlling the range, landing that quick right hand over Santos' slow left, which I expected. And that's what I said, Santos is going to have to paw that right hand. Like if you're orthodox, paw the jab, paw the right-handed southpaw, so you can push your way in and land your right hand to the body, or at least land some right kicks, kind of blind her with her own jab. Don't just run straight in, because Valentina's quick like lightning. She'll come over the top with the right hook, check right hook, or that straight jab down the pipe, so you can't stand in front of her. You got to move around. I think Santos, she did a good job of getting away from the big shots. She was doing a good job of moving away from the roundhouse kicks that Valentina was throwing, even some of the straight left hands. She measured that well. So she did have that IQ. She did have that part of her IQ in there. It was working there. Santos punched her way into a clinch, but Shevchenko, she was able to control Santos on the cage, keep that neutral position for a while. Shevchenko, she tried to get it to the ground, but Santos, she was quicker to the scramble, got the back of Shevchenko and was attempting the rear naked choke for the last 90 seconds. But Valentina, she's landing these little strikes from behind, right? She's landing little strikes from behind the head. But to me, Santos, I thought she had the better positioning and never stopped trying. So really, it was a close round to me. I think it's just what you look at in that first half of each round, because Shevchenko had her moments in the first few minutes. Then that fence work to me was kind of neutral. Then the groundwork, Santos had the last part to me. I thought she had the last part. That's why I gave her the round, because I thought the groundwork was overriding that neutral position that Valentina had on the cage. That's to me now. That's my opinion. That's why I gave Santos the first round. The second round, Shevchenko, she opened up with some good striking, attacking the lead leg, good left hands. But Santos, she clinched up nicely right away, got a nice turn and reversal of Shevchenko on the cage. Now she was in the better position on the cage, peeled Shevchenko off, got that left leg behind Shevchenko's right ankle, and takes her down, gets top position. In my opinion, Santos, she was doing well with her work in the guard with the constant pressure, but lacked the ground and pound. Here is where you have to drop elbows and forearms. Like I said, I shouldn't have to be telling elite fighters this, right? I shouldn't have to be telling #1 contenders this, but this is what she was missing. You can call me, he's sitting behind the keyboard, he don't know it's harder than it looks. No, if you're an elite fighter, you should be able to establish and do what I say you should do, right? If you're on that level, right? Because you're on the top position. If Valentina's landing off of her back, you need to be dropping bows on her. You need to be dropping bows and forearms on her head at that moment, because you're in that position. Don't let Valentina climb her guard high to try to get you in an arm bar here. You need to keep that guard open, or let her close it back up on you and start landing in spurts, just like if you were standing. So Shevchenko, she was landing off of the back here. She was still landing off the back. And again, on the judges' scorecards, they might look at that. If they don't, it's still damage regardless. They got stood back up. Shevchenko on that last man landed some nice body kicks. Got a judo toss here, but it was Santos who scrambled right to the top position to close the round out. Again, I gave it to Santos because of the ground control. But to impress, she needed more strikes. Okay, I do agree that she needed more strikes. But I gave her those 2 rounds with the ground control here. Round 3, close round. This is the round I think a lot of people are going to argue. And second time around, we'll talk about it here in a minute. From the beginning of the round to about, I'd say, 220 mark, I thought Shevchenko was winning the round with her stand-up. She got a lot of nice strikes in, a lot of nice methodical strikes, not like volume. She was just really controlling the stand-up to stay ahead of Santos. After that, she was able to clinch up, get the lock up on Shevchenko. Santos was, but Santos, she steps in and clinches. But when they do this, they clash heads. And now, yeah, I want to correct myself too. What I was talking about last night, Shevchenko was landing some shots to the back of the head, from behind. She was landing to the forehead and scuffing up the face of Santos. I saw the scuff marks on the forehead and just a little bit around the brow. But it really, really was that clash of heads that did that swelling. It was just the angle. I couldn't see it at the time. Like the clash of heads, that first clash of heads in the third round, and as they clinched up, when Santos moved ahead, you could see it starting to grow, right? You could see it starting to grow. So that first clash of heads, it was hard. And that's what happens when you're southpaw versus orthodox. When y'all step in, it's not intentional. You know what I mean? Most of the time, it's not intentional. You know, you step in like that whenever you have your lead hand as the right and they have their lead as the left. When both of y'all try to step in with the jab, or if that's just your angle to step in, your heads are going to clash. You know, so that sucks for Santos. But, you know, Valentina, she took advantage of that. You know, when that head clashed, the eyes started swelling up, the cheekbones started swelling. And this is where I think Shevchenko, you know, she started to take over a little bit. But because she started touching that side. You know, she started touching that right eye. You know, she started touching it more with little strikes, accumulate damage. Santos, she finally gets another takedown in this round, and she's on the back of Shevchenko. But again, she's missing some opportunities to solidify the round on these cards of the judges by not landing the ground and pound. You know, Santos, she finished with another tight rear naked choke attempt, and good control of Shevchenko's body. You know, she had that lock, but Shevchenko, she's still like landing on the eye. Like I said, if they're not scoring those, they're still doing the damage for the long haul that Shevchenko's prepared for, right? So Santos' eye at this point was really starting to swell. So yeah, it was really that big clash of heads there that caused that swelling. So this round here, second time around, I give it to Shevchenko. First time I did give it to Santos, but it's really what you look at. Fourth round, Shevchenko just turning it up on the feet, attacking the right side. Santos standing her ground a little more, but her eyes bothering. You can tell Shevchenko, she landed a heavy face kick after a low blow, so they had to take a little break there. But that face kick, I had to say, wow, man, like, you know, the eye was really starting to slow Santos down, but she never stopped trying. You know, she had a good chin, too. Like, her chin was good when she took some of these hard shots. Shevchenko just kept trying to attack that right eye with those left hands. Santos was hurt a few times, but she showed how focused she was and how good her chin is here, because some of those shots, she knew how to measure range and make Shevchenko miss. That's why I was like, man, if she could just have a little bit more speed and counter punching, she might be able to tag Shevchenko, right? So if she adds more to that rematch, we might see a little bit more of a better fight from Santos. Shevchenko, at this point, I think in this round, when she was steps ahead, she was doing what she had to do on the feet. Santos still landing some kicks, nice inside kicks of her own, not getting any respect, though. She did land a nice chest kick at one point too, you know, so she was landing a little bit on Shevchenko, but it was some beautiful timing from Santos that caused another clash of heads, I think, because they replayed this one and it hit right on the eye again. So there was two headbutts, I think. There's third round and the fourth round when she switched levels to take Valentina down. Like when she locked Valentina up, they clashed heads again, and she gets the takedown, but it still wasn't enough to win the round. So I gave the fourth round clearly to Shevchenko, but that clash of heads, man, it really, I think that second one is what really put it over the limit, and it was what broke her orbital bone, which I'll talk about here later. But fourth round, going into Shevchenko's territory now, she's getting more comfortable. Fifth round, Santos, she did have a nice inside leg kick that was established at this point at times. Well, I won't say it was established, but she was using it because it put a little bit of red on Shevchenko's leg. But she started to find her range a little bit more. Shevchenko's left hand, she couldn't get it off as much. Shevchenko almost hurt Santos a couple times with some good right hands, but Santos' reaction, I love it. Her reaction when she got stung with that first right hand was to get the fight to the ground. She switched levels quick, and boom, she took the fight right back down to the ground, got Shevchenko's back. Shevchenko slides out. Got to give Shevchenko a lot of credit for her defensive grappling here. You know, get back to her feet. Shevchenko's controlling it. Santos ate some hard right hands, ripped some nice inside leg kicks, and this was the round. Yeah, I just played it back in my head. After she landed some inside leg kicks, she landed like a good front kick to the chest on Valentina, and you know Valentina still kept coming though. You know, she still kept coming. Valentina closed the round out with her own takedown, a la like Rose Namajunas style, and just kind of rode the round out here, just controlled the remainder of the round on the top position here. So at this point, you know, with the eye the way it was and just Santos starting to slow down, there was really no way she was going to get into that round because Shevchenko just switched gears. And like I said, that was on my mind when I did my analyst pick. I said Shevchenko knows how to switch gears when she gets into these later rounds, you know. So second time around, I could see 3-2 for Shevchenko because there was just a lot of that veteran work in there that the judges are going to favor. And it was on Santos to make sure that we got to, dot our I's and cross our T's, and we got to get Valentina's respect. And that wasn't ever established in this fight. Like, Taila Santos gave Valentina a very good competitive fight, but she never got Valentina's respect in the fight. She never got her respect. She never had Valentina frustrated or overthinking or trying to come after her with that pissed off face. You know what I mean? Like, she didn't have it coming after her like, oh man, I got to catch up, or oh, you think you're better than me? She was never at that moment. Like, there was parts where her ego had her in there trying to wrestle and grapple with Santos, and it almost cost her, but she just had those backups to know how to slide out. Like, when you get down to the 4th and 5th round and you try to get a submission on Valentina, at this point you guys are bloody or sweaty, it's easy to slide out. So that last time she got the back of Shevchenko slid out easy because, hey, at that point, you're sweaty. So, those are little veteran tricks that you have to think of. So, yeah, when it comes down to it, I thought it was a great fight. It was a good showing in the flyweight division. It's what everybody asked for. And in no way, no, I'm not saying it's a robbery. No, Shevchenko was not exposed. No, I'm not arguing with anybody on how I think the fight went at this point. I give you my points, and that's it. What y'all think is what you think. What I think is what I think on this at this point now. But I think Shevchenko, she definitely was tested this time around. That's what everybody wants. I don't think she's older. No, I don't think it was a weight issue. No, I don't think it was an age thing either. I just think she was dealing with a fighter that was much more evolved than Lauren Murphy, a fighter that was much more evolved than Caitlin Chikagian, a fighter that was much more stronger and evolved than Jessica Ai, and then Joanna. All of these fighters, y'all got to understand, they were coming from that era around the time with Ronda Rousey and Holly Holm and those fighters. But Taila Santos wasn't even signed yet. She was being put together from the Muay Thai background and really working on jiu-jitsu. So she was mastering many different styles and just a physically strong specimen, kind of like Manon is as well. Wrestling, karate, taekwondo, boxing. They're putting everything together. That's why you really can't just say they're one thing, right? So the day one of those fighters comes along, Shevchenko is definitely going to look more so human, right? She's definitely going to look more like a human this time around because they have more than their last opponents. And this is out of her comfort zone. But to see her tested like this and come out on top, even with a close decision, shows you how good she still is, right? Because Muhammad Ali is a great fighter, but he had his competition. Not Corey Spinks, but Leon Spinks. His Corey Spinks is his nephew, right? Leon Spinks, was a tough style. Ken Norton was a tough style for Muhammad Ali, right? So even these great fighters, they're going to have their moments. Floyd Mayweather, he had his moment against Marcos Maidana 2 times. Jose Luis Castillo. There's always going to be a style that can trouble these guys if they know how to put it together. It doesn't necessarily mean that they were exposed, because I can't really say that. I've seen Joanna exposed in some fights. Let's say we can see a lack of a ground game with her, right? But with Valentina here, I can't say that she was exposed in anything. Like, maybe she needs to throw a little bit more punches, but to me, I saw her going through the motions at times because it was the ego, but I don't think her IQ was really like exposed, like, oh, she's not a good fighter. Like, oh no, like she's just been fighting bums. No, it ain't nothing like that. Valentina was just really tested, and I think a lot of people just need to understand that when you're tested, you're going to come out losing rounds and you're going to come out with black eyes, right? So that's what it is, man. Valentina being tested, I thought that's what everybody wanted, and what more can we say, right? Because when it was Shevchenko versus Chikagian and Murphy, y'all all kept saying, oh, she was fighting tomato cans. These girls don't stand a chance. She's in a boring division, right? Now, the minute she fights competition, oh, she's old. Oh, she's in the wrong weight class. Oh, she's too small. Oh, she got exposed. No, she was just in there with a great competitor. She was in there with a good, solid competitor. So let's not do that, because now we're putting down Taila Santos's her credibility, and I am not doing that. I had a reason why I put Taila Santos in my quadruple threat. I put her in that quadruple threat because I knew she had those attributes that could either beat Valentina or give her hell. That's why, it wasn't necessarily about saying, oh, she's going to do it 100%. No, she can either beat her or give her hell or give her a tougher fight than any of these other girls did in the flyweight division, right? So with that being said, next up, I really want to see the rematch, but I know that's not going to happen because Valentina has already said that, rematch, that might not happen for a while now because she's eyeing the Miesha Tate Lauren Murphy winner, which basically she's eyeing Miesha Tate. If Miesha Tate wins, she wants a main event pay-per-view here, right? Yes or no? Do y'all like that? And Taila Santos, let's be real, broken orbital bone. She suffered a broken orbital bone. I want to see her take the time off. Those things are hard to recover from. Take 8 to 9 months. Who knows? She might not come back till next spring. Let's be real. You know what I mean? Like if you really want to get that thing healed up, depending on how the damage is, it might take a while. It might really take a while. Yeah, like Casey O'Neill has a torn ACL. She's got to recover about a year, but this is by the eye and the skull. I'd say at least give it till next year. Not trying to jinx or nothing, but I'd rather see her wait and take the time out to fully recover because, I think Taila is the goods. Shout out to Taila Santos. She did, she gave a very, very spirited performance. Like I said, in my eyes, I thought she won, but at the same time, I can see where she let it slide, So, yeah, that's my take, guys. Like I said, I did that for a couple of y'all asked me my post-fight analysis. And I wanted to go through it round by round with y'all because some of y'all were mentioning all these different moments. So I had to go back and watch it, in my focused mind, just sit back and watch each round by round. And, Shevchenko did it. She did it with, the veteran tricks, the strikes, the stand-up. Can't just be looking for submissions. You got to go in there and you got to whoop ass. Sorry, you got to whoop ass. You got to look the dominant. You got to whoop ass. That's basically how it is in there because Zhang Weili showed you in the fight before. And that's how you get it done, guys. So, yeah, what else? Like I said, post this up as a podcast episode too, I guess, a mini episode. So subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Tuned In, all of that. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Combo Breaker 99. And, yeah, feel free to leave, what y'all think in the comments section about the fight. When it came down to it, like I said, I'll say it one more time. No, Shevchenko was not exposed. No, Shevchenko did not get old overnight. No, she's not too small for flyweight. If you're dealing with a naturally bigger flyweight, you should know how to fight a naturally bigger flyweight, right? Because if you both make 125, but one comes in bigger, make those adjustments to the style. That's all it is, Yes, Taila Santos is a threat. Yes, she is the goods. Yes, she deserves a rematch. Combo Breaker 99, I'm out. Subscribe. Peace.